You're listening to White Noise with your host, Drip.
Welcome back to White Noise, episode 7, brought to you by the Black Wrestling Podcast Patreon. I'm your host, Drip, as always, joined by producer Khal, the founder of BRP, and for a proper appearance this time, he was supposed to join us a while back for the passing of the late, great Ray Liotta for a Goodfellas conversation, but he's back this week, the host of Something Else Pod, which you can also find on Black Wrestling YouTube with Lovely Laveau. You can start checking that out every Wednesday. You know him as Brother Fam, the man of all the AKAs, or Earl Fam, as Emilio Sparks likes to call him.
Wow. That's Fam period right there. You see that?
Fam with the phone.
Fam with the phone. Breakfast fam. Everything's going on.
The reason we're here this week is to talk about what happened last week. We kind of briefly mentioned it during last episode because we recorded Sunday, so this news dropped pretty much all day Saturday night, which is the MCU's Comic-Con announcements and what the future holds for the MCU going forward. But most importantly, they dropped a trailer, but not just any trailer. Again, Kyle and I, you briefly talked about it. Ryan Coogler's Avatar Way of the Water is basically what they dropped.
Black Avatar.
Black Avatar, as you called it, but
Blackatar?
It's Black Panther 2, Black Avatar.
Wakanda Forever. And Fam, what was your initial reaction to the trailer?
I am not sitting there going to no movie where the goddamn trailer had me choked up. I'm watching the goddamn trailer. Hold on, man. I'm not going in there like a funeral with the big glasses on so can't nobody see what I'm doing. Like, y'all niggas wilding. What y'all trying to do to us here? Niggas had a whole, it was a whole, everybody got the white on and the close-up on Shuri's face. I was like, oh, nah, I ain't finna watch this.
Close-up on everyone's face. Like, they show Lupita Nyong'o, Angela Bassett, Denai Guerrera, and then
Angela
Letitia Wright. But she's the only one in the trailer who has dialogue, and when she speaks, it's the most powerful thing you've heard probably all year.
The last thing I heard that powerful was when when goddamn Killmonger was talking about I'd rather be in the ocean with my ancestors who knew slavery. I mean, death was better than bondage.
It's crazy.
But again, like it starts out with the Thames song, then it kind of mixes into Kendrick Lamar's All Right. But like in the course, again, we're just seeing these clips. And again, it's Angela Bassett's speech. Again, she's lost everything. And then we cut to like
everybody.
I watched like kind of the okay.
Say it, fam. Say it.
What's with that bar? Like, what happened to Shuri?
Well, in one of my group chats, one of the questions was, when is this said in the? Because the biggest speculation is who's going to be taking up the mantle now that Chadwick Boseman's passed away, and most like
what if it's a white man? Chaos.
It would be chaos. Not for real. What White Panther
was the White Wolf?
Yeah.
If Bucky gets that suit, I'm leaving the theater. I swear to God.
He takes the hat off, and it's Bucky.
No.
Whole popcorn getting thrown around.
We'll kind of get into like the MCU post Endgame, mainly how Phase 4 has been so far in the forth. But again, we have been in kind of shaky territory where the MCU has given us moments like no in certain aspects of their shows and movies. But I mean, we have a glimpse at the end of the trailer with like a suit and some claws going, and it looks like it's kind of might be Namor in the distance. So like there's a showdown, and then if you pay attention to stuff on Twitter, like the Lego sets dropped and it shows Shuri in a suit, and more often than that, that's how kind of spoilers have been revealed over like the last 6 years. Mainly, I think for Civil War Spider-Man, they showed like the Lego sets. It's like, oh, this guy is obviously going to be in Civil War, whereas they announced Black Panther was going to be in Civil War from the start when they had D23 that year. Chadwick Boseman came out and kind of was like a ref between Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. But the overall, again, vibe of the trailer is, again, it's like this man-made water world with like the strongest women of Wakanda. Like they're going to battle against. They're not going to be Atlanteans. They're going to be basically Mayans from this place I can't pronounce, which is kind of like this mythical. Well, that's the thing. I'm like, we're in a big year for Mayans, fam. But like whatever, like the kind of paradise version of Atlantis is for the Mayan culture, like is where Namor is going to hail from instead of Atlantis. I think they wanted to differentiate from.
Oh, is that what they're doing?
Yeah, that's why again he'll be of Mayan ancestry and all that. And I think that's a good change too. And a lot of people like they're having a race war with Hispanics and blacks, and it's like Shea Serrano always would tweet the line from Blood In, Blood Out where like this guy says black versus brown, it's what they want because we're stronger together than against each other.
That's how the movie's gonna end.
Yeah,
of course.
But I think speaking about how things
even though again the villain in the future of these movies will be Jonathan Majors, so it's like,
hey, don't call him a villain until we see what the fuck he doing.
Oh no,
I'm kidding, but don't villainize a black man. But what I'm saying is, there's so much at play. I don't know again because taking it back to what Angela Bassett said, I've lost everybody. That could be midpoint of the film. We could get a film where Black Panther 2 starts and Shuri is the Black Panther. Like it's been in the comics. That it's not a new thing. That's something that's happened before. Maybe she gets murked
because she stole it when she got it in the comics, right?
I believe it was
supposed to have it.
That mantle has been moved around before. It's T'Challa wasn't just the only Black Panther in the comics. But I say that to say with the multiverse being a thing, we've seen Jane Foster with Thor. We've seen so many people play so many different characters. We could be in a situation where we're seeing multiple people as the Black Panther and Black Panther 2, and whoever starts that movie may not make it to the end to be the Black Panther.
So
I think people just need to be prepared for that.
America Chavez go get another Killmonger from another multiverse.
She'll punch the water. Yeah.
That's the thing, and with like how I think that's kind of theory too. When you look at like the trailer as a whole, Lupita Nyong'o and Angela Bassett are on like these beaches where again like these temple pyramids are in the background. It's like do they now live under that kingdom, or are they visiting? It's like type of like Game of Thrones feel of like, oh, you're over here now, like what's going on back there. And like there's a great image because I watched the IMAX trailer the other night, and it takes the full screen when the water just breaks through the glass in the throne room, and this throne's now surrounded by the water, and then the fire rises up. So it seems like Namor now takes over Wakanda because
Namor destroys Wakanda with a tidal wave in the comics.
Yeah, the Atlantis Wakanda battle is very real. Very real. To the point where they're it's funny like all of this happening now in the movies, because I remember reading the comics where they were just coming out of beefing, but the incursions were happening, so they had to put their little friction on the side because they were all part of the Illuminati in the comics trying to stop. What an interesting time to be able to see Marvel make shit into like literally reading the most insane shit, and then I could pay $12 to see it on the screen right there. Well, if I'm going like 10 a.m., you pay $12.
Yeah.
Later on, it's about like 25.
I say we're gonna have to pick a different day to record that week to see the Thursday night showing.
Oh,
I always make the show on my Thursday night showing
because you have the luxury to see it right away in the morning.
No, I don't go in the morning. I usually hit that about 3:00 show. I hit that 3:00 show.
Is that the earliest?
The earliest. They probably have all day showings, but I usually hit 3:00 because I can go to work and you know what I'm saying, and then
get
maybe leave an hour too early, head over, check the movie out, come home, eat, and then BRP it.
I don't normally go to the movie. Like I see a lot of movies, but I don't go like Friday 8 o'clock or like whatever time people normally go to see Marvel films. I don't know. Even when I take my son, it's usually like Saturday
afternoon,
11 a.m. or 1 in the afternoon or whatever. I can't do the insane. I wouldn't want to do.
No, I agree, because I mean I would do the Thursday night showings before doing BRP. For years I would do the Thursday showing, and then after joining the show, and then I would do Friday around that 8 o'clock time. So yeah, but again, like COVID had just started, so I think the first really Marvel movie I saw around that would have been Shang-Chi, because Black Widow I had the day off, so I saw that in the afternoon. I was like, well, glad I didn't waste my time at night coming to see. Again, we'll get into that a little bit, but again, we see like M'Baku face Namor, like it seems like they storm that, so like there's kind of be this epic battle again between countries and all that. And the guy who plays Namor was on Narcos Mexico.
I think it's Namor, Drip.
I always it's tough.
It's just
sometimes.
Namor.
He was on, but he's a guy from. Was he like a drug lord guy?
I think he was the main villain in Narcos Mexico.
Okay.
I've never seen any season of Narcos, but when I was looking him up, but he also played Blue Demon, like the man who is Blue Demon Jr. Like in like the biopic of Blue Demon Jr.
What?
Yeah,
that's funny.
The wrestler.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. I didn't know Blue Demon Jr. had a movie about.
It's a show.
Who the F is Blue Demon Jr.?
The wrestler.
A luchador, right?
Yeah, the guy with the blue and silver mask. Yeah,
the luchador. I know. Shouts to Keeks. Keeks just be saying names like.
Yeah, I had sent that to her. She had no idea there was a show about Blue Demon Jr. I'm like, the guy's playing. Again, I'm going to say Namor is playing. What played Blue Demon Jr. when she was like, what?
I'm gonna have to check out this show.
What happens to do when you look up stuff again? Because that's the thing. Marvel will kind of cast people of like little to no fame, or at least in this country, at least.
Well, but I mean, the thing is,
turn them into a star.
But even outside of that, it's like because Marvel has been, they've made steps, numerous steps to have more diverse characters. You're going to have to get somebody to play that person who is of this skin tone, of this racial description or whatever, regardless of their powers. It's got to look right. And so because Hollywood is the way Hollywood is, a lot of these people aren't getting a lot of the roles that they probably should have been before you would think they'd be able to step up into these movies. You're going to get somebody who, they were on TV last week, now they're about to be the main bad guy in this Marvel film. It just is what it is these days.
I think it's a good change, like you said. Like they kind of have a lack of Hispanic or Latinx characters to begin with now, and kind of going forward they will. The also thing I guess we're skipping over too is that Riri Williams is hinted at in this trailer, Ironheart, and then her show will drop sometime in the next year.
Can't wait.
Again, like how will she play a factor in this movie? We see her making the suit. It didn't give away too much. It just gave us, like you and I talked about last week, how these Oscar, type scenes. In this
Where
soundtrack.
is she from? Where's Riri Williams from in the comics? Because is she from that school that they opened?
I think
at
she's.
The end of...
Yeah, it looks like she's probably on like a foreign exchange program to like.
If I'm not mistaken.
Shout out to Foreign Exchange for being on Obama's playlist.
All right, so if I'm not, her father was a very, I guess he was a very smart man, and she was a 15-year-old engineering student who goes to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on a scholarship. But there was something with the money, like because she by day she was in school getting this education, but at night she was moonlighting as like a whatever superhero, and the whole thing was, oh shit, how do you have this Stark level tech and you making this shit in your garage out, in wherever in the suburbs or whatever. So she's like, Marvel's introducing. That's what, like I said before, in terms of being diverse, like that's genius level intellect as a teen. And the fact that she's being introduced in Black Panther 2 is dope. I don't know how much of a factor she's going to be, or if she's in Wakanda. It's hard to tell what exactly was going on. You just saw her hitting the thing.
Again,
well, now she's in the lab with Shuri. So
yeah,
but we don't know. Like, how does she get?
They basically create the scene from the previous one when T'Challa walks in and daps her up. They basically Shuri's doing that with Riri Williams now. Again,
no facts.
Homage.
But what I'm saying is we've never seen this child. We don't know how she got there. Like, you know, how like, it would make sense that she would be like an apprentice, I guess you would say, to Shuri, but you know, Riri isn't Wakandan in the comics, so how they connect those dots and how she lands there is definitely something that's going to be interesting to take note of.
No, I think it's like what Fam said at the end of Black Panther when he is outside in Oakland and he sees the kid who plays young Chiron in Moonlight, Alex Hibbert, I think, right?
Yeah, something. He's
he
on the Shy now.
Yeah, he looks at him like, and he's kind of like reminded of Killmonger in a way, and like I think it's that the Wakanda program where they'll be inviting people over. It would
be dope to see that. Yeah,
I think that's kind of what it is, which is why when Angela Bassett's like at this like consulate saying like, what's probably moving forward with their country going on, and we see Everett Ross back in a brief second. We see again this whole ocean liner where they're like sending people in the James Cameron suits to explore.
Because there's one thing that is very interesting that's happening, because a lot of people were questioning if Letitia Wright was even going to be
in the movie,
be in the movie or be Black Panther because of the her tweets. She had to delete her Twitter at a certain point. She was posting things, anti-vax things, and there's a lot. Yeah, there was a lot that was going on with her during the quarantine, and plus she was acting, and I think she got she might have got concussed, and she had some type of injury because they had to halt production for so long. Which again, that was the first thing that made me indicate she may be a very important part of the film, because they shot everything and they had to wait for her to get better to finish the film. But I wonder, like, it's having Riri in the film fills the very smart Black character that Shuri was. Shuri is already more likely to be filling the Black Panther role, but at a certain point, maybe Disney's like, look, you're gonna ascend to the top of this fucking film, but we can't have your anti-vax views in our company. So you're gonna get the championship, but then you got to immediately do the job. And then we already got somebody lined up to take what your spot would have been if you hadn't been out there tweeting crazy. That's a conspiracy theory, but it just popped up as we were going through them.
But that kind of makes sense, right? Normally with these trailers, what we've been getting is the first like half hour of the movie. It feels like it could be the whole deal. I think Namor might destroy the joint at the beginning of the movie, and she's at like the United Nations begging for help from all these other countries to help them out. You know what I'm saying? Because her whole family gone.
Exactly. Literally, it's not just the family members. She's talking about Wakanda as a whole. Kind of like how the same thing that happened to Asgard.
And it's the reason why we see M'Baku in them, because remember, they in a mountain. They're like the high ground. They the last place. They like Wakanda's. That's gonna be like Wakanda's last stand right there. And then they come back. I think this is gonna be a big deal movie.
It definitely is. That's the thing. Like the part we're skipping over is that Ryan Coogler did return when like the few directors and we'll kind of get into MCU and how they treat directors as a whole. But he came back to finish this vision in a way without Chadwick Boseman. We'll kind of get to that. I'm waiting for someone else to have this conversation with.
But remember, this isn't just the only, because Coogler's also got the Wakanda series. It's on Disney Plus. His production company is making a whole series based off of Wakanda. So it's actually he's in an amazing spot right now. I don't know what else he's working on.
Are we gonna get Clerks Wakanda version?
I think that the thing is you're probably going to get if you're doing a season, if the show's called Wakanda, it's about Wakanda, you could have seasons about multiple aspects. You could have a season set solely with the Dora Milaje and how.
I think that's what this is. It's
because they had
Dora Milaje, the one from that was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And that's when that show kind of jumped up a bit when they showed up. And I was like, oh shit, because she's like, you know why we're here. And he's like, we were trying to like give us more time. We're not done yet. Like,
give us the arm back, nigga.
And then she just like. And as we see, Emmy winner Michaela Cole is part like this
exploding palm technique.
Looks like the special ops version of the Dora Milaje with the blue suits.
They're making a point. They're making a point to say that she's got a role in this film, so I'd imagine she'd have a decent one. Yeah.
but like Fam said, because I rewatched No Way Home last night for the first time since seeing it in the theater. And when you see that trailer and then you see the movie again, that trailer is just the first hour 20 of the movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, because they have a big reveal for the second half, but still, it's just like there was a lot in that first hour to begin with Doc Ock showing up, the hints at other villains, and the whole, him wanting his life back and all that. But Marvel has kind of done that pretty well with, I guess, their bigger ones of like, we're not going to give everything away yet, because it's going to be a big fucking deal. And I think what Fam said was right. Like at the end, M'Baku, what were they called again?
I think that's mid-movie. Is he's out there defending? They making a last stand for. I think we get a Wakanda rebuild at the end of this.
Have to, yeah. It gets burned in the ashes, and then.
Does anyone think they get Multiverse Michael B to show up?
Well, again, this is the thing.
I think we see Mike and we see Chadwick.
Well, there was a rumor. Well, I hope whatever they do and see in Chadwick does not look crazy, because I would rather they not do something.
They are going to break everybody when Chadwick pop up on screen.
I would not be ready for. I don't know if I'll be ready for that.
Being there,
I haven't rewatched
Jay Blige not gonna cry no more glasses.
Facts.
But when I rewatched Civil War,
my mustache is sweating. Leave me alone.
I need a Vader mask with the shoulder pads. Leave me alone. It's a fucking mastodon elephant right here, nigga.
I still haven't rewatched Black Panther since his passing, but when I rewatched Civil War to prep for the Gray Man, and like his scenes in that are fucking so phenomenal. Again, like you could tell, like in Civil War, like, oh, when it's his movie, it's gonna be phenomenal. And again, top 10 MCU movie for sure, probably top 10 comic book movie of all time for sure as well. But like, again, his presence and him as an action star just worked beautifully.
I think the funny thing is the inclusion of Black Panther kind of upped the ante. Like, it's not too many of them that was fighting niggas on rooftops and then hopping
runs him down.
They're running on the highway in lanes of traffic and shit. Him and Captain America, shit was I don't know what's going on.
But
that shit was funny.
I mean, I don't know if you read the same thing, Cal, but like there's the whole does Dr. Doom play a factor in this as well theory. And that's just all speculation.
No, because comic book me, when I'm sitting here, when I saw everything that was going on, I tweeted, because it doesn't need to happen right now. They do not need to give us Dr. Doom tomorrow, but at some point I need them to take. It could be a season of Wakanda. Give me Doom War. Doom War is It was everybody in the comics went to Wakanda. Doom said, "Boom, I want the vibranium. I'm about to fuck everything up. My powers plus the vibranium. I'm about to kill everything." Wakanda was already fucked up. Black Panther T'Challa may not have even been the Black Panther at that time, or he was on the low, but he had to recruit. Deadpool, Wolverine. It was like everybody had to mobilize in Wakanda to take care of Doom. Doom War was kind of hard, low key, but it's like the Survivor series, kind of like you would really need to have all the stars aligned to get.
Is it the 2001 Survivor Series winner takes all? You got the Alliance versus.
Enough. That's kind of what it felt like. Yeah, I mean, X-Men were there. Fantastic. It was like there were representatives from everybody going out there to try and help them out, because Wakanda was in shambles at that. It was an interesting time. Again, Wakanda's always been present for the last like 10, 15 years in comics. And speaking of people being present,
there he is.
Sham God.
What's happening?
The man responsible for the White Noise intro.
Wait, hold on.
You know what I mean?
Lord Vader himself.
Kyle over here giving Jules. Doom War needs to be a thing. Like,
talk to him.
Like the Doom War whole thing was that like Cal said, Doom come through, takes all the vibranium, because vibranium helps amplify magical power. So that's why he went there and scooped it all up, and dared somebody to come get it, basically. Black Panther's only... So T'Challa was the Black Panther at the time.
Okay.
I think Shuri was too, because when T'Challa transitioned, he was like the king of the dead at that point. and then Shuri was the official Black Panther in name.
On the ground, yeah.
Yeah. So what they had to end up doing is there's something that T'Challa had is built into the vibranium where he made it all worthless.
Yeah.
He destroyed all the vibranium in the world, but they thought it was going to make them poor, but little did they know T'Challa, while he was king, bought up everybody's debt in the world, so it still made Wakanda still the richest nation in the planet. So that's a whole nother bag of, you know what I'm saying? Like, that could get crazy.
It could get really crazy. It could get really crazy if they wanted it to. If they really wanted it to.
But see, the problem with the MCU is, my bad, Drip. The problem with the MCU is that they got to stop killing off villains in one movie.
Yes.
Like, they have to stop doing that because it gives you no real story. Like, all right, we like the way they did the Mandarin is like, yo, fam, like, yo, that's, you got him up out of here. Right. Thanos is the only one they let sustain because he was the overarching villain.
Well, which Mandarin? Because technically we have 3 Mandarins. We have Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery. We have my man Guy Pearce as the White Mandarin, and then fucking Tony Leung's amazing performance as Wenwu in Shang-Chi as basically the real Mandarin, as he says, without saying
the real Mandarin.
Yeah,
right.
Was the official,
and again, unfortunately, killed off, like you said. But and that kind of plays into the fact of what you were saying, Chuck. I think as we're about to read the upcoming slate of movies they announce, they do 2 things that might really hurt them about. I mean, I think they know it, but they kill off villains in the movie, with the exception of Loki. And then they'll just kind of, I think, pick and choose parts from certain arcs, and then when those arcs want to come around again, it's like, we kind of already do that, but then they're like, oh, but the multiverse exists, so we can kind of undo it all. So like, as we're saying, I mean, Secret Wars was the big thing announced too. It was like, how are they going to do this with this little time? It's like, well, now alternate universes exist because we saw Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up, and, you know, John Krasinski as Reed Richards for 4 minutes showed up.
Right.
So we can kind of still make this salvageable. Wow.
Well, there was a rumor going around.
But hang on, I think the only reason they do that is because we all agree that, like, from Iron Man to Endgame, they told probably the best story you could. And it was the best season of TV ever. They made, 20-something episodes that were an hour and a half to almost 2.5 hours at times. And now they're just kind of like, well, that season's over. What do we got for season 2?
But let's not be revisionist. It wasn't like the first couple Iron Mans and Thors were cool, right? But they weren't like these like epics that we invest in, like the back end of that of like the Thanos story. Yeah. So it was kind of this. It was like, all right, we got like a little one-off movie, and it was cool. But niggas want, it feel like people really want us to dive right back into stakes movies where all the stakes are, oh my God, Thanos going
end of the world,
or the universe at this point. And we got to get back there. They have to build.
They got to build it. But I think the if you figure Phase 4, if you're talking movies and TV, technically started with WandaVision. And it's ending soon, a year or so.
It's still epilogue.
Wakanda Forever is Wakanda Forever. That's what I'm saying. So Wakanda Forever is the last we have for Phase 4, and that's the what we have upcoming for the MCU as well. And then Phase 5 is now going to be starting with Ant-Man and the Wasp, February 17th, a week before my birthday, with Peyton Reed returning as director. Then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in May of 2023. James Gunn is back after being fired, then doing The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, just to be brought back again. Then The Marvels, July 28th, with Nia DaCosta as director. And that's tying in Miss Marvel. I watched one episode of Miss Marvel this week. I had postponed, but I'll be catching it up.
I need to catch up on Marvel.
There's things that you need to know to have this conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm aware. No, I'm aware of the spoilers a little bit. I'm not in a negative way, but I was just, again, I was off the grid for a bit, so I wasn't paying attention to most of it. But I saw that. Then we have probably what we're, I think, low key all excited for, without not knowing really anything about except the star, which is Blade. Mahershala Ali. Sam Tariq is the director, and that's in November of 2023.
That's gonna be full on vampires.
Yeah, it has to be.
Does it?
You talking about on Loki, or you talking
Blade.
about when we get to the actual Blade?
Yeah, when we get the Blade's just gonna straight up be a vampire movie.
Pretty much. I think it's going to introduce the what is it? The Dark Sons or the Sons of Midnight?
Midnight Suns.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy.
Can Marvel eventually have Dracula? Because he's in the comics.
If they brought Hercules, spoiler alert, they can bring in.
Yeah, and Hercules
Dracula.
is in the comics too. People were surprised by
Hernandez?
Hercules. No, he looked kind of like him, kind of.
He did, yeah. Brett Goldstein did look
You
like.
have a chain?
No, it's their version of Hercules.
It cuts
had
to
that
a
weird-
guy for like 2 seconds and then it's gone. Like for almost, I'm like,
He,
is
he
that-
had the weird Farouk hat when he first came in.
Yeah,
The gold
yeah.
one.
He
You
looks
fold that
like
up, put it back in your pocket when you're done.
Then we have Captain America: New World Order, which is again for all of us wrestling fans is the funniest thing
Yeah,
in the world.
Well,
May
there's 2
3rd.
reasons why that's funny. Is because that end in New World Order, right? The NWO, that end, Captain America is black now. So
and it's Captain
so
America.
Hogan on the side of Hogan on the side of the van with the
Yeah, that meme got a lot of play last week, and it was just. I guess.
Sorry.
Who's Captain America?
It's going to start off. The following message is paid for by the. Is he going to have the shield? Too sweet the shield? Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he going to spray paint the shield? Like.
Yo.
And that'll be directed by Julius Ona, who did
Sham, you
the
muted too.
Cloverfield Paradox. Then Thunderbolts, which will be like their Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Well, don't say it
July
like that. I mean, but yeah.
Come on, what do you mean you don't say it like that?
Well, because like the thing is, the problem is you only say that because Suicide Squad came out first. Like the comics they've been existing at the same
Well, it's
same
like
time.
Deadpool's their version of Deathstroke, but not serious.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Deadpool is a version of their version of Deathstroke because Rob Liefeld said he stole Deathstroke and made Deadpool. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just it's. But
you don't think they're like, yeah, we need a group of the bad guys who like have to.
I think it's going to end up being a little different than how Suicide Squad is set up.
And that's directed by Jake Schreier.
But the problem is, like, what are you going to rate it though? Because the Thunderbolts traditionally in the comics wouldn't be a PG-13.
It's got to be R. Yeah, it's got.
But they've committed to. They've already committed to what is it? The next what if is TVMA, right? So they've kind of committed to kind of upping.
The Marvel Zombies in itself is its own series, and they're skipping it to the TVMA because
that's the one that's getting TVMA as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the what if is still going to be the regular rating, but the Marvel Zombies is their first step into the TVMA. Sure. But the Thunderbolts has to be. It can't be just a Suicide Squad type of movie,
right?
Because then it looks like you copying. Now
Exactly, and it's going to be interesting to see who is included in that, because are they going to be bringing?
So it's got to be U.S. Agent.
Yeah.
It's got to be Abomination. It's got to be which Black Widow's sister.
Yeah, she's gonna be in it.
New Yelena.
Yeah.
Because what's her name? Elaine from Seinfeld or whatever the chick been
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah. She been Elaine. They've been building the goddamn.
Yeah, that's the key, right? Well, but that's what I'm sorry. Well, you want to say something, Shan?
No, I was gonna say like if you're gonna do the Thunderbolts, but who's gonna be team captain? Because we all know who the team captain of that squad is. So how are you gonna do it now?
You have to have a situation where they're going to need, and that's probably going to be the closest thing to a Suicide Squad. They're going to need, what is it, Rick Flag or whatever, my man. They're going to need whoever that leader of the team is to push them forward. But
I don't know who is the leader of the Thunderbolts. I don't know.
It should be Thunderbolt Ross is the Red Hulk.
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
William Hurt passed away last year.
Yeah. So like, how do you do that now? Because everything was leading up to like, from the first Hulk movie, the bullshit one, and then kind of him being in the background just trying to see what's going on. His next step would have been Red Hulk,
right?
So how do you do it now?
They could do the rare recasting again. They did it with Don Cheadle. It's the thing. I mean, we skipped over. Would it have been all right to recast Chadwick Boseman to continue the story? And it's a conversation neither of us wanted to really have, given the circumstance. But also,
let me ask.
Also, who could you get?
Well, let me answer your question with a question. What if instead of recasting Chadwick and just having T'Challa as somebody new in this movie, they use what they've been doing. They use the character they've already established, the multiverse that they've already done, to tell a whole story, and then at the end of that film, you get a new Black Panther. What difference does that make?
I think the question is, if you tell a story like that, they'll be like, well, why didn't you just go get a T'Challa from another multiverse?
Yeah. It'll be the same thing when Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans show up again.
Which is crazy to me, because Robert Downey Jr. had murals all up in the Spider-Man movie. Like at a certain point, they are allowed to tell stories a different way and treat the faces of the character. Because again, in the comic, unless you're like the diehards who they're always going to keep, like Peter Parker's always going to be 24 years old in the comics, but Miles Morales wouldn't have been a thing if they just kept the same. Like and they've been making those changes. Again, we spoke about Riri. She's the new Iron Man. Like let's not get it twisted. She will be the new Iron Man. So because I saw people on the timeline having that conversation, and it felt weird to me when we're in a movie where they're showing you how much they're willing to change these characters. It's going to happen. I just think it doesn't always have to be this person's gone, so we're going to throw a new person directly.
The biggest one to me, as someone who didn't read the comics, but then would read like the online like summaries of some, it would be like Hank Pym creates Ultron in the comics, but in the movies it's Tony Stark. But like that also makes sense realistically. Like he was already creating these automated suits that he didn't have to be into control. So him to create Ultron in their world is much more free than Hank Pym, who's kind of like a recluse when Scott Lang tries to steal the suit. So I was thinking, like, how could they bring someone else? But I mean, they could recast someone as Thunderbolt Ross if they really wanted to. But
give me Tommy Lee Jones, man. Give me Tommy Lee Jones.
But he was the general in not that people can't redo parts, because Gemma Chan was in Captain Marvel, and now she's
Alfred Woodard's been 2 different Marvel characters as well.
Yeah.
So with
that's why I'm like, who could they got? Sterling K. Brown is kind of an obvious choice, but I think it would have been a great choice, and he's related to the brother. But like, he doesn't look much like Chadwick Boseman is the Thing, but I think he would have been a good choice if they had to pick someone to play T'Challa.
No, what I was going to say was it's. I think what's going to end up happening. This is just spitballing, not to go too far into Phase 6, but like we talking about these recastings and whatnot. They've already gave you the clue dart that the incursions are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think the incursions are going to do is give them the ability to do a soft reboot of the entire MCU altogether. You know what I'm saying? So I can bring a Captain America back. I can bring all these other people back and just start all fresh all over again. Because remember when the incursions happen, somebody got to go. So I either got to blow up your Earth or y'all got to blow up my Earth.
Those shits were so amazing. It like the intensity in reading the comic, be like, wait. I like this character. That's what they whole plan about to die, and then. But Sham, remember you bring up when you said that you the secret, because they're bringing Secret Wars at some point.
So yeah, remember when Secret Wars rebooted again? When Secret Wars was a soft reboot of
everything. And and remember the fascinating part. And I don't know if it'll be 1-to-1, if it will be Doom, but the whole idea was there was a person that was when. Essentially, all the worlds collapsed together, and in the comics, Doom was the one that took pieces of the different multiverses and stitched this world where people didn't really have any idea what the fuck was going on, and they had to take care of that. But that's how Miles Morales essentially became a regular in the main Marvel timelines, because his world, he was one of the stragglers from his old world that landed in the 616.
But see, I don't know why they're doing now that the MCU is now classified as Earth 616. It was originally supposed to be based off the Ultimates universe, and I'm supposed to be writing it to film. So now that they've already classified 616 as the MCU, like what's canon, what's not canon, like what are you pulling, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of all over the place.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. Where I think they kind of fell out by being like, all right, we're starting out with this as a base, and over the years, when it's again, how do we keep this season going to keep it fresh and all that? We pick and choose stuff from here and here, and that keeps it updated. And then we're not using everything that's all there, and we can again we're back to this when we do a restart and do something like that. Because again, after Thunderbolts, we have Fantastic Four, which doesn't have anyone attached, but I think they're waiting until D23 to announce that going forward, because obviously John Krasinski is not coming back to play Reed Richards.
No,
and John Watts stepped down as director to probably go back and do Spider-Man 4, which again hasn't been announced, which is one of the things that hasn't been announced.
I mean, there's at least 5 there's like 7 films in Phase 6 that are just summer placements. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
probably films and series.
Yeah, so who knows? There could be a Spider-Man somewhere in there at some point. I could totally see them doing that. This week we're getting into 2025. We'd be due.
That was the thing last week. It was like, oh, I guess we're back to kind of normal in society. When we're like, it's 3 years until another Avenger movie. Like,
that's good.
That's because I don't think we have no idea who's going to be in that version of the.
No, I just mean like I remember in 2016, like Comic-Con announcements. It's like, Avengers Infinity War 2018. I'm like, that's 2 years from now. Like, oh my, we gotta wait how long? Now we're like, I guess society after COVID and all that, we're back to normal, being like Avengers Secret Wars is 2025. It's like
back to back, yeah.
But that's also a just a product of so much information, like too much. We didn't know movies is coming out 2 years from now. We just know next summer. Like, that's it.
Right. Well, I think the larger thing is, especially as we're getting out of Phase 4 and getting into Phase 5, we touched on a couple of things that I think are important, because the other question people had is, who if Julia Louis-Dreyfus is working in the background, and there's these incursions going on. Jonathan Majors is running crazy through the mall. There's like all of these things happening, but it's hard to tell. Like, it's because there's not. I guess I'm gonna have to get him myself. And Thanos grabbing the gauntlet, or seeing him working behind the scenes. It's tough to know what the fuck. Like, if you're trying to prognosticate what season 5 or what Phase 5 is going to be, and where they're going to move to Phase
5 in a way,
you really can't. It's almost like AEW. There's a lot of options, but I will say, if I thought Kevin Feige was just flying by the seat of his pants last weekend when they said, "Oh, look at how we got this mapped out," I know they're going somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just tough to know what exactly that connective tissue.
I think that Phase 6, Kyle, just like you're saying, I think that Phase 6 it's either going to start the small introduction of maybe one-off mutant stuff, because you can't have Secret Wars without any mutants. Like, you just can't. You can't.
That's the thing that I have at the bottom is like, well, first, again, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, May 2nd, 2025, which now has a director. They waited a few days to announce that Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi, will now be directing this, but he'll also be doing Shang-Chi 2, which is probably going to be
one of these other films
before one of these at some point, you'd imagine. And he also will be kind of overseeing the Ten Rings TV show on Disney Plus. But that was a weird choice to me from his standpoint, not from them, because Shang-Chi
doing the show. You're saying
doing the movie. I mean, because he's this independent indie filmmaker who made these small films before being tasked with this big blockbuster on Shang-Chi. And it's like, I guess he thought he could do it, or he wants to finance his next 20 years.
Or that's a hint. That's a hint at what they're about to do. If Shang-Chi is probably going to be a major.
Well, not just. I assume they had the Russos take over after Winter Soldier and Civil War. These two guys are going to helm the big Avengers movies.
To Fam's point, though, I think out of the movies specifically the movies that have come out over the last couple of years in Phase 4, Shang-Chi that felt like, all right, what is saying? A new player has arrived. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like a fully formed, ready motherfucker and I assume that he's got a spot in the Avengers already.
Well, that's why they're like, where do these rings come from? That was the whole end credit scene. Like, their power is different from anything we've seen. It kind of predates all this stuff. But I just mean from like him being this guy who's like, I'll direct the big Avengers movie. It's just like a weird choice for.
But remember,
the Lord there sounds like whatever the rings came from Kamala Khan's Bangle or whatever came from the same spot. It's
But wait, but I was going to say, speaking of Kamala, I think because you mentioned Nia DaCosta directing the Marvels. I mean, the next Marvel. Like, she had the same.
Captain Marvel 2 is the
Marvels,
basically.
Film.
Yeah.
She had an indie film. She did the recent Candyman thing, but when Candyman was out, she was already working
that's what
on.
I'm saying, kind of to bookend these announcements is that Ethan Hawke had these comments about them not being director friendly. But that's Ethan Hawke being kind of, a artsy fartsy asshole in a way. But more often than not, the MCU again doesn't hire big name directors because that's the whole point of this being a season of TV. Like Kevin Feige dictates the story, and besides all the bad publicity about the VFX,
is Kevin Feige the new Dick Wolf, yo?
Yeah, in a way,
1000%. When it comes to the MCU,
it's all him. It's all him.
So in a way, he's the director, and the only one who's kind of, like I said, gotten the leeway is Ryan Coogler and James Gunn, by them bringing James Gunn back, given the bad publicity and him kind of making the Guardians relevant. When again, it's like you want us to watch a movie with a talking raccoon and a talking tree, and then he made him the most lovable character.
Word is he's the most. He's like it's like a super tragedy. This next one where they show how he became whoever he's at. The trash panda that we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
really?
It's supposed to be really sad on like how he becomes who he is and why he and all that.
James Gunn's good with that stuff. I can't wait. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look at Peacemaker again. Like this guy who's this smart ass asshole in the Suicide Squad. Then watch the show. It's like, oh, his origin story is rough. Like, geez.
What you say, Shane?
I mean, when the High Evolutionary came out and did you see the his suit and all that? So that's how it's gonna tell. They're gonna tell that story through the High Evolutionary. How he, like they showed like a small picture of like Baby Rocket or whatever, like at the trailer there.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be crazy because Adam Warlock's gonna be in it.
Yeah.
Finally.
I look like Adam Warlock.
Infinity Stone in his head, but who knows?
Right.
Yeah, that's another actor that James Gunn is used to working with because
the guy from Peacemaker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what he does. He likes to reuse.
He's got a stable. He's got a stable of people, and I think facts, big facts.
He brought Steve Agee from Guardians 2. He's just one of the Ravagers, and he's the guy in the chair.
His brother's going to be in everything. Like he always.
Sam Raimi does the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Bruce Campbell was in the last Spider-Man film. Like I was waiting for that.
Doctor Strange, you mean?
I'm sorry, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is Feige's. They're doing two things. They're either that there's a reason why they chose Homegirl to direct Eternals. They had a feeling that she was going to make noise in award season, which she did, and then you could this
and then she made bad noise with this.
But they want the look. It's just like Netflix saying we got 800 films and look at all the stars. They want you to notice the name.
Yeah.
But so they're either going to go after the Cooglers or the James Gunns who are established, and they're creative to the point where you don't really need to do much. They understand the assignment and they can make it even better.
It's basically
they're high. Their art levels at high. But the flip side is it's either that or it's going to be people that they can mold, people that they know they can get the shots and get what they need to get done in the time frames, but aren't also going to be like, well, I think this needs to be this. I need like they can give them a little leeway. But
the person who did that is the person they shit canned right before they started production. That was Edgar Wright, who's a true auteur, visionary director with Hot Fuzz, Shaun vs. Dead, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and he's like, I want to make Ant-Man like this. And then Kevin Feige's like, that's not how the game is played.
That's not. I wouldn't change it. Yeah, I like the comedy version with the little Hispanic dude telling the story.
No, but the thing is, that's an Edgar Wright thing that I think they kept. And Peyton Reed said, like, no, that was something we added or whatever. And I'm like, that's an Edgar Wright thing, because if you watch Shaun of the Dead, he's like, we go to Mum's, we do this, we pick her up, we head over here. Like, if you watch any Edgar Wright film, he's telling you a story right as it's supposed to happen.
Maybe they thought the Hispanic. Maybe he was doing too much with dude.
Yeah,
like he was the whole movie. Like, now you got to rein back. We need actual other people. We need Ant-Man.
That's it. Like, I read those names of the Phase 5 directors, and like you said, like Nia DaCosta, like she made Candyman in an indie movie prior to that. But other than that, it's these people who they can mold. And like, you show up, like TV directors, you show up, you get the job done, you leave, and only 3 or 4 kind of had the leeway
Facts.
And that's what I mean. That's why I think they picked Destin Daniel Cretton to do a Kang Dynasty after Shang-Chi and what will be Shang-Chi 2, because they liked what he did with Shang-Chi, which is one of the best films to come out of Phase 4.
He got the snap to do a whole Avengers film though.
That's why I'm surprised by. I'm like, I didn't think that this guy. I didn't think he'd want to do it. Is the thing that they might have thrown him the biggest bag to support. Like I said, his next 20 years of filmmaking.
These are the biggest. Like, if you want the biggest bags in movies right now, you better if you can get to a Marvel project.
Shang-Chi's one of the best looking movies they've had. I mean, that was also shot by Bill Pope, who did again Edgar Wright's movies, the Matrix movies. That's why the choreography is insane with the fight scenes, because they had and the stunt team that Jackie Chan created in a way.
We'll see. I think the movie he was able to make with Shang-Chi is going to be a different animal than, because the Avengers, at the very least, at Avengers, you gotta do what the fuck you got to do. There's a blueprint for those, because those are the ones that are driving what's going to be happening next.
And then Secret Wars is after that with no director announced.
Getting tapped for one of these movies is like Drake saying, "Yo, I need an album with one producer." You know what I'm saying?
All right, why'd you gotta go that far? Come on.
Damn. Sham.
That's Drake, the bag. They like, look, 40 taking an album off. Baby, come through.
Would you do that, Sham? Would you go up to Toronto and chill in the six for however long it take to make an album with Drake?
A nigga do that with a whole owl. And nigga be up in Toronto with a whole owl outfit on.
Big house.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
OVO Sham.
OVO Sham. That's his name.
Man.
Listen, coming back talking about tings, mans, all that. Watch that. Listen, easy.
That's all the movies they announced. Like, so there is there is a Deadpool 3 that doesn't have a date. There is the Shang-Chi 2. There is a Mutants movie that again doesn't have a name or a date or anything. It's just
What you mean a mutant movie? Like, is that X-Men?
X-Men?
Or is it going to be like? Well, because I mean, mutants that can mean a lot.
All right, there are 3 mutants right now, right? There's 3. So
yeah, it's a small number because they're really just starting to hint at that stuff.
Now I can't. I'm trying not to spoil. But
right.
You do know that Namor is a mutant, right? That we know for sure. There was another mutant revealed.
This motherfucker got wings on his feet.
That's funny. That's gonna be Black Panther 3 when they go to the hood. They will be like, "This motherfucker got
shot that movie.
Hey, take his wings, nigga. Take his wings.
They're Marvel. I don't ask people for a lot, but I would have loved cameo like that. Me on screen. That motherfucker got wings on his feet, and then I'm just like on a bus and I'm driving down. I will do it for free.
I'll do it for free.
That scene, that cameo. Anyway.
Airfare paid at least.
No, of course. Travel and lodging has to be included.
Yeah.
And if you want to put some food on the room every night, that's fine too. But so and Deadpool 3 is also supposed to be rated R as well, right?
I don't know. It was Sean Levy, who's like
it's Ryan Reynolds, bro.
C-level Steven Spielberg. Like,
what be a Ryan Reynolds movie? It don't matter who they put.
Placeholder. You could probably name
Sean Lee, but their previous collaborations are Free Guy and The Adam Project. Nothing about that screams R-rated.
This is Deadpool. This is Deadpool. I don't think Ryan Reynolds. Again, there are only so many like certified movie stars right now. Where like their name is in a movie. That movie is going to have a very prosperous opening weekend. That's a movie star right now. Ryan Reynolds is at that level, and part of that is
only after Deadpool, though, because
let me finish.
I think before, but that's another argument.
I think he was a star before, but what I'm saying is Deadpool 1, the overwhelming success that had as a February release, as an R-rated superhero film, like that put him on a different level. Free Guy put him higher than that at this point. And I say all that to say they know that he comes with an automatic audience because women love him, guys love him, guys want to be him, women want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
the classic,
Deadpool's the stone cold character right now. Like I don't think you can turn Deadpool down and at least get a film that the base is going to want to see. It's going to be R-rated. I don't know if it's going to be, like frontal nudity. I don't know. But it also like we also don't know what it like. I don't know if it's not going to be a Marvel Studios film, right? Is it going to be a 20th century film? Like what umbrella is this going to be under, and how's it going to be?
This will be the movie they put on Hulu.
Well, I mean,
it's going on Disney Plus. It's got to go on Disney Plus at this point.
No, because they have the Predator. They have the Predator reboot called Prey, and that's the movie that 20th Century Fox would have put out. They're putting on Hulu because that's what they're doing with Fox movies.
But you were talking about TVMA and stuff before with Marvel Zombies. Don't forget Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Logan got added to Disney Plus as R-rated films a couple of weeks ago. So I think
last week,
all of that is, again, we're talking foundation. They're laying a base to say, oh, when Deadpool 3 comes out, oh, don't worry, we've done it before. We didn't mess it up back then, right? Trust us. But it may not be the same raunch. Who knows how many efforts are going to be in it, but they're going to try and make it as R-rated as I don't think they can do a PG-13 Deadpool and have it hit the same for the
They probably thought they were. That's why they had the writers that worked for Bob's Burgers, and then kind of, I bet over the course of we can't really do this because the backlash will be intense. They brought back Reese and Warnick, who wrote the previous two.
Yeah, you need them.
You don't have a choice in that. I don't think you really have much of a choice. Like, you have to, like you said, you already have an established fan base with that genre, and then you already. I thought at the last Comic-Con before COVID, when they got all the they got the Fox characters. I thought they were leaning into we're looking to do the R-rated thing.
Yeah, that's what they've been saying. That's what they've been saying.
I think they're especially worried about it now, given how Disney Plus kind of was like, oh, it's the streaming service you have for your kids and to watch Marvel movies. And I'm we need adults to migrate over here too. The stuff on here. And the Logans, the Deadpools.
The kid shit is cute until you realize that you're still battling HBO Max, you're still battling Netflix, and you're going to need things that adults are going to want to watch, and you're going to need those things that are in your lane but are TVMA or whatever. You just have to get do your little profile setups right, so little Jimmy isn't watching Deadpool, tonguing down his girl and then killing us. There's things that can happen. But they at a certain point. See, the thing is, at a certain point, when you're trying to have this much of a monopoly over certain genres, you're going to have to broaden your horizon when it comes to, I don't want to say decency, but ratings, because everything can't be PG. Everything can't be TV-14. You're going to age out.
I feel like Guardians should be a little.
It could be.
Wilder.
It's the one that really pushed the most. I remember when I saw him, wow, and then I saw with my family 2 weeks later, and my stepbrothers at the time, I think, were only 6 and 4.
And you were like, "This is too much for y'all little ass."
No, I realized wow, this is the movie that has the most swearing in an MCU movie by far. And then you kind of see they kind of upped it a little bit at certain times.
Well, we also
they're all trying to push that envelope, though. I think they're.
Well, that's the thing. James Gunn went to DC. He's I'm going to do whatever I want. They're yes, because we need whatever you want.
But you got nothing. Get busy.
Warner Brothers love what he did with Suicide Squad so much that they gave him Peacemaker. But you've also think we've got The Boys. You got Invincible. There's a lot of these adult-oriented comics. Sandman's hitting Netflix soon, and that's going to be a total mindfuck for people that's not up on that. But for Disney to not only stay in the game but hope to dominate. You can't neuter Deadpool in this world because people will just go back and watch season 2 of Peacemaker when it comes out. They'll watch Boys, they'll watch Invincible, they'll watch all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they won't have to worry about that because they're all alternatives. So he better be saying all the Phil type shit out there. He may have to kiss a guy or something. They're gonna have to push the limits at a certain point.
I don't know if we can use the Phil anymore.
We're gonna have to run that by HR.
So to finish phase 4's, to finish the rest of phase 4, we have She-Hulk Attorney at Law. That series will be coming out soon. There's an Untitled Halloween special, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday special, and that will be the end of phase 4.
Their official canon. Those specials.
It says on its phase 4, and then next year we'll have What If for phase 5. What If season 2, I should say. I still haven't seen What If season 1.
There's a good Chadwick Boseman. He's up for an award, I think, off of that for that vocal performance. Is it an Emmy? I think it's up for it. I think he was just nominated for an Emmy. But that episode's probably one of the best episodes of the Black Panther Wakanda one.
Then we have Secret Invasion.
The whole good series is good in general.
The Secret Invasion show again. How much will that play in a factor again with aliens and the other aspects of the universe and Skrulls, and then we have Echo, which will probably be a good show. I enjoyed her arc in Hawkeye. I thought Hawkeye was kind of the most underrated of the shows. It just came out around Christmas, so it kind of got slept on. Loki season 2, first season of Loki was the best show they put out by far. So season 2 will be interesting again, given how it ended with the rifts and the man who, that version of Kang.
And he who should not be named.
That is apparently the nicest version.
Yeah, yes. Which is why I was like, okay, I'm glad this is a different version because I don't want the villains again to be like how Ultron was cutting jokes, but then like I'm gonna cut a man's hand off. Like, no, we just need straight killers as villains going forward. I don't know if
is there a better like single scene from an actor in a Marvel film than him in that speech that he gave at the end of that?
Probably not.
It's one of the best things, like acting wise, I've seen them do. And I mean, we've seen some great movies, but that scene.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. It's like it's that speech. You mentioned the Killmonger speech.
I mean, when we probably do the Black Panther pod and recap the first Black Panther, I'm someone who actually loves the Michael B. Jordan performance, even though a lot of people have criticized it.
If they don't like it, they're wrong. Their opinion.
Well, no, they just say the acting's better. Like it's someone who's a fan of anime acting like an anime character. Like he's acting like the villain with the hair and the facial features and the way he pronounces words and like again the whole like you ain't the son of a king, you the son of a murderer. Like again, like that whole scene in the throne room where he can run some like say my name.
I need to throw Black Panther on.
Like that's probably the real like best scene until Jonathan Majors showed up. But then Jonathan Majors had also the best scene of 2020 with him on the landmine, and then like where'd he go? The house in The Five Bloods, where it's like he went to the house.
Yeah.
And it was like that scene is still so good because that's an amazing scene in a good movie. I haven't run that back since. The way
I think Feige might know what he's doing. Like he was like, oh,
no, they know. Yeah, no, they pick the right names. I mean, Daniel Kaluuya was in Black Panther, the first Black Panther. Like
they ain't come back. That's the
yeah, but he was a suck in that movie though.
He was a suck in that movie, but hey, he was in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they're smart.
Kill me, my love.
They
And she said, "Yeah."
I mean,
hold up, fellas. I gotta get ready to jump off real quick, but I appreciate it. I'm about to
stress the huge shit.
Hey, man, listen, run this back. We still got more to talk about. We're gonna have to run this back.
Yeah. But no,
Sham, you coming back? You definitely coming back to this conversation at some point in the future.
But first, Sham, you got some stuff to promote before you leave.
I don't right now, but I will. I definitely will, fellas. So I appreciate y'all, man.
Keep us posted, bro. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
Salute. Brother Sham.
Again, I wanted to repay Sham back for having to make the intro. So inviting him to talk the MCU news is why we're going this week. Hopefully, again, we can get back in the future where he's not on the phone.
He may end up being a recurring character at some point. But I'm actually kind of saying he left because he's the one other like Fam. How familiar were you with Kang the Conqueror before?
I only knew Eddie Kane from the Five Heartbeats.
I've been talking about the villains. I hope Kang is dope.
Yeah.
He was never somebody I was like pressed about reading it when I was reading the comics. But again,
when it was announced,
so far,
you just talked to him, and then it was announced. I remember fall 2020 because I just joined the show. You would just talk to him, and then the news came out, and you said he was possibly finding out but couldn't say anything.
Yeah, he was being mad cryptic. He was on the set of where they were filming The Harder They Fall. He was out west. Yeah, he said he was learning how to play the guitar and everything. But yeah, at that point there was only so much he can mention, and there were only like drips and drabs of it out there. But literally, But that's how it always goes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The big shit happens, and then you have them, and then the big shit happens. We had Chris Bay, and then Chris Bay joined Bullet. Maybe we're the catalyst. I don't know.
No, we've been the catalyst. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Nah. Was there?
But no, I think that's why Kang will be in Quantumania, and then
Needs to be.
I think he'll pick. I think he'll drop in and out of these other ones. That's why Kang Dynasty will probably be a real thing. We will probably live in a world where he is a ruler in a way.
I still don't think he's the big bad. I think
he's the big bad.
I think the Thanos is Doom. I think is moving back. Like they'll show us Kang over movies, but if they're true to what they've done before, where they'll start dropping the true big bad later on, it'll be Doom.
So y'all didn't, because they're one of the things that actually leaked was whatever footage that they showed from the Ant-Man stuff.
I've only seen a little bit of it. It wasn't the best.
It was literally like Homeboy had his phone up like this.
Yeah.
So exactly. he caught the top third of the screen, but there is facts because I mean I'm surprised he had his phone there to be able to even attempt to do with those salutes whoever did that. But there's a moment with Kang where there's a feint to like you think it's one thing and then it's something else. And I think where you're at right now, fam, is exactly what it's going to be. Where he's going to be the I've been pro wrestling metaphors. He's going to be Rick Rude, the Intercontinental Champion, before you get to whoever's going to be the World Champion. That's why he's an Ant-Man this year. That's why he's going to be in a movie. Or next year, the movie's going to be a movie. The following year, you're going to be seeing Mans orchestrating a lot of shit before you, because it may be somebody telling him what to do. You feel what I'm saying?
I think the bar from the Ant-Man trailer was him saying something like, "Man, Ant-Man saying I'm an Avenger," and he said, "You're an Avenger. Have I killed you?"
Right.
They say, yeah. They said it looked cool. There was also some what's the not Secret Wars, but what's the Sam Jackson joint? Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion,
apparently leaked. What's up with the armor? We didn't hear anything about Armor Wars, which was
that's what I have the rest of the shows. So we had Loki season 2 again, and then we went out to the Kang tangent. Ironheart will be late 2023. Again, that's the Riri Williams story. And then, I mean, I'll enjoy this because I'm a big Catherine Hahn fan, but Agatha, Covenant of Chaos will be either late 2023 or 2024. That'll be an interesting one-off and maybe explore more of the magic side.
She's a good MCU, she's a good actress, and that was an interesting character. I don't know a whole season of that, but something tells me they're either big fan service or something's gonna be in there.
Well, it's also it might be the Black Widow. Once you watch it, this didn't matter in anything else except one thing in particular, and that was Elena. So it's we could have just kind of skipped over this, maybe. And then probably the biggest news, as someone who hasn't finished Daredevil season 3, is Daredevil Born Again.
What are you
with
doing
apparently
with yourself?
With apparently 18 episodes is what's rumored, which is are you out of your fucking mind?
Have you seen the other Daredevil? No, you haven't.
First of all, Daredevil season 2 is probably the best superhero season of a show ever.
You gotta finish watching 3. It's why it was ridiculous to me when they canceled the things. I mean,
I tapped out.
Understood the businesses afterward, but it's so good. What they did on Netflix with those specifically Daredevil was so good. It speaks to some things need to be episodic and not just told in that, because there's elements of you can do Law and Order episodes of these where it's a case and that's the episode. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe you'll see maybe 10 minutes of Kingpin trying to plan to get back at him or whatever. But then the next episode is a new case, maybe some little elements. Oh, there go Frog. You know what I mean? There's so much that you can do, and you're not confined to 3 hours tops of telling a story and having to be out of it. You can, you know what I mean? You get next time more power. You know what I'm saying? You get that.
And I think because we for those who haven't, if you're a fan of comic books, you already know that that born again storyline for Daredevil. That's like one of the upper echelon storylines for probably is one of the greatest Daredevil storylines from like '86, I believe. Them saying we're going to dedicate 18 episodes to tell this story, I think it make the rise and fall and of how that story works it's not a 10 episode thing. And I think if you
that's the problem.
No, go ahead.
The course of the shows that they've given us is some of these shows really should have been movies. In a way,
some of them were 8 episodes and they probably should have been 4, and some of them were movies and they probably should have been 12 episode series or whatever.
Like Loki was probably the Loki and WandaVision, because WandaVision had the cheat code of we're going to use the sitcom device as each episode and then cut back to what's really going on, and then Loki being like each episode kind of could almost been standalone in some ways, but it's still connected perfectly. And that's what happened when the guy who was the showrunner wrote on Rick and Morty. It had that feel like it's all kind of one-offs, but there's still a running theme throughout it. Michael Waldron, who wrote Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, he wrote the pilot to Heels.
Yeah.
But then you see like Falcon and the Winter Soldier had that kind of like it's Law and Order a little bit, and but then there's the running theme, and that's kind of what made it lesser than. Moon Knight was the same thing, but that kind of wanted to be 2 different things. It picked up kind of in the middle section, but the end and the beginning weren't the best. What made season 2 of Daredevil work so well for me is that the first half is him versus the Punisher. The second half is him versus Elektra, and they cut back to, the side stories are also interesting as well in that with Foggy and Karen stories, but that was kind of the only show where it was so well-rounded, whereas like Jessica Jones, season 1 was good, but anything that wasn't like her or Kilgrave, I didn't care too much about. Stuff about her friend as like a child star was all right, but like Luke Cage and Iron Fist, neither of those really worked for me. And why I tapped out before season 3 of Daredevil was because after the Defenders, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with these. Like the Defenders was just a fail version of the Avengers that had just like you built up so much to build to this, it didn't work in my opinion.
I'm glad that they brought. I mean, the tease in No Way
Charlie
Home.
Cox is back. Yeah,
Charlie Cox being back, I think, is smart. But that's my hope. My hope is that
we didn't talk about him. Well, I would assume it's him at the end of the She-Hulk.
No, I think we'll be seeing. I think it's also confirmed that it is Charlie Cox, because again, if D'Onofrio came back for Hawkeye as the Kingpin, and will be coming back, and I think Charlie Cox will be in the Echo show as well.
Well, I think that's the key. Yeah. I think.
But again, are these their version, their universe, Netflix universe of? Because then they alluded to what happened.
Well, don't
in New York previously. So
this is the problem, and I think this is what a fan was talking about this earlier with the moves that Marvel made in the beginning. Because you have to remember that Marvel Studios was not a thing initially. Marvel Studios came up, they were already maybe like 4 or 5 films in. That the reason we can't get a new Hulk film is because Paramount.
They were Marvel Studios once Kevin Feige left the Fox regime, and they didn't become Marvel Studios once Disney had.
But how many films was it before Marvel said, "All right, we're teasing this stuff, but let's turn it into the actual multiverse"? Because it took a couple. Like they would tease Nick Fury, or they tease the fucking Thor's hammer Mjolnir or whatever, but it wasn't until they didn't figure that out from the beginning. And it was
they were a studio about the they were a production company about the studio back then. That's why Iron Man 2 are Paramount, Hulk, Universal. Captain America
is who did the Hulk film.
Captain America and Thor's almost Fox, I think, or some weird thing like that. But Captain America is the first Disney one, and then Avengers had like the weird production. Distribution rights for someone else. Iron Man is the first. We're MCU, DC, Disney Studios, because Disney bought them right before the Avengers.
And they made that whole Iron Man deal and all that. Iron Man was normally the star.
I had a question. With Hulk, right?
Yeah. So
Hulk doesn't have control of him turning into.
No, he does now. Is the thing.
This is my question: is why does he stay Smart Hulk? Like he never goes back to Banner now. It's always it's a tweener. He's a tweener the whole time now.
He was Banner in Shang-Chi. Remember?
Oh, at the end, when he had the sling on.
No, his whole thing is he can also be Smart Hulk instead of
Hulk.
just Monster Hulk, yeah.
But this is the problem.
But that's what they don't explain over the course of Infinity War to Endgame. Remember, like they go and see the Hulk and he has the glasses on, and I was like, "What happened to you?" He's like,
Maybe
"I figured out balance."
Maybe they'll use She-Hulk to kind of explain.
That's what She-Hulk will be, because he's teaching her that. Yeah,
well, they've been. I mean, if you wanted to, if somebody much better at video editing than me wanted to stitch, there's like a Hulk movie that they've essentially made since the Avengers. You know, whether if you pick up Ultron, like you go, being scared.
We don't really need the stuff from Ultron with Black Widow, though.
You need it for the story, though. In terms of understanding where Hulk is now, you at least need to understand him going to Africa and fucking up Africa.
You need to pay it back. You need to play off Thor Ragnarok. Sun's getting real low. Sun's getting real low. Why do you keep saying that?
But that's the thing, because of the way it was before, when Marvel did not have the idea to have everything connected, they would give away rights, and Universal technically still has rights, because if I did a piece for Complex a bit ago, and the best I could find was that Universal Studios, at least at that time, they still had rights to use Marvel characters for rides, and they retain that stuff. And they don't want to lose that stuff, given it all to Marvel. So they hold on to that, and they hold on to that little sliver of, because the idea is they get right of first refusal, which basically says if you come up with an idea for a Hulk film, you say, I want to make this Hulk film, Universal. They're like, nah, but they allow Marvel, because Marvel still has the rights to use the character. They're able to put him in the movies, and they've been making him as good or as not as good of a character.
They just don't have the rights for a solo film.
They can't make an actual film, but that's why you have to kind of look and say, oh, well, I guess because of this time he was spent here, or you know what happened. That's why he is where. But that was also like the war between Banner and Hulk, smart and changing and whatnot. That's a staple of the character in the comics too.
And technically, Namor was kind of the same thing, where they weren't sure for the longest time who had the rights. So I think they were just constantly in limbo. Yeah. So that's kind of why they waited until now. But also, I think they like the right way to introduce them. But like I said, like Feige leaves Fox because he learned under Laura Schuler Donner, who did all the X-Men movies, to then start Marvel Studios. And when you watch, I think the first Avengers, or like Assembling the Universe like special they did on like ABC, it's like the characters we picked were the ones that we only had the rights to.
Right.
And that's Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. He's like, and what do these people form? The Avengers. Like, we can get the Hulk, but we can't get the Hulk by himself, which is why they did the co-production with Universal. But then when they wanted to bring him into the Avengers, and Kevin Feige said, like, I'm not working with Ed Norton again. They recasted him. He's not the first person to say I won't work with Ed Norton again, but that's why going forward and then in a weird way it probably hurt them, but helped them. It hurt them by like Sony realizing, fuck, we're fucking up Spider-Man. We need to salvage this. You guys want to rent Spider-Man?
No, that's exactly what happened.
That helped them streamline things a lot faster. They are also introducing Black Panther to set up, this will be our next 10 years will be this guy in an unfortunate passing. That's just how life works in a way. And then Fox realized like we don't want to be this, whole, company anymore as an entertainment company, just a news company. We'll sell you all our movie rights. So that means we can get the Fantastic Four. We can finally get the X-Men, and that's going to, again, their next 30 years, which is why they're not rushing to introduce the mutants, which I understand, because Kevin Feige, I think I listened to a pod with Sean Fennessy and Joanna Robinson about the Eternals, and Joanna Robinson said that when she was at Vanity Fair, she was reporting on all this, but like Feige was kind of stepping away from some stuff post Endgame, which is why Eternals turned out the way it did. And like he kind of came back in last minute to be like, hey, what's going on? What's wrong with this in a way? Because he was supposed to be making a Star Wars film. And I think also just kind of being an overseer instead of like hands-on on each production like he has been, which is why kind of each movie since Endgame has had just kind of one producer and Kevin Feige.
Yeah, no, like, facts.
Namor did Eternals, which is so, again, Kevin Feige probably was like, Nate, you can just handle this. And I'm, still, the one that kickstarts it, but you're the one on set every day, making sure everything's going right. Mm-hmm. Just based off stuff I'm hearing from stuff like that.
Oh, no, you're 100% on, especially with Nate, I think.
Well, I just mean in the grand scheme, like he's probably, Kevin Feige, by coming out last weekend and doing the Steve Jobs things, like these are all just announcements is the fun part. It's like, you want to see this? And we're all like, yeah. And he's gone for a weekend. He's like, I'm going to give you fucking Secret Wars. And it was like, fucking Secret Wars. Well, you want Kang Dynasty? Like, he's just throwing.
That's why it was at San Diego Comic-Con and not during D23, the Disney thing where they announce all this stuff. Like, I would not be. And again, I'm just speculating based off of what I read online and what I read in the news. There are many people who were questioning what the future of Marvel was going to be based off of the confusion of what Phase 4 is
this essentially was supposed to be an episode that also covered Phase 4. But when we have Sham on again and we have Fam, when the four of us get together, we will review Phase 4. That'll probably be post Wakanda Forever.
That's a good idea.
She-Hulk will also come out. I would hopefully have seen Miss Marvel by then.
Yeah, maybe by the end of the year.
We were going to talk about these announcements and what it's setting up, but also like what has kind of been off so far. But that'll have to be a 2-part. This is just a volume 1 of MCU talk.
A lot of gems that you guys need to tune. Patreon.com/BlackRass. And you've already paid the 1 or you paid the 10. You pay something to get this content. But tell your friends. In the future, we'll be talking more about this. But no, I was going to say. What was I going to say? No, Kevin Feige, he needed to go out and say, look at what we've been working on. Just so, even if you've been like, I don't really feel like Phase 4 has been hard, or I don't understand what the fuck's going on, you can at least see that they've been in the bunker and there is a plan, and that plan does include Secret Wars and includes Kang, and it may include Doom. They're teasing all of that stuff because they know it for the next 2 years, 3 years. This is all people are going to be talking about anyways. What the fuck's happening with Secret Wars down the line? It's fighting smart. It's a smart way to do it, especially if the audience is kind of not as into or not feeling that you guys are as strong as you have been in the past.
Well, I had said this over the course of the entirety of Banks versus Davis whenever we talked about an MCU project, and we had Black Variant. Shouts out to them, X and Van. They're a great comic book podcast. Check them out. If you want to, again, the gems that Khal and Sham have been dropping about the comics, they're all into that. Shout out to my guys there. We had them on to review the first half of comic book stuff last year. And at the time, it was just WandaVision, Falcon, and Winter Soldier. Black Widow hadn't dropped yet. And that was the thing, is like there had been no Marvel stuff for all of 2020. So in a way, it's like, oh, we've been waiting so long because you guys haven't given us anything for a full year after dominating the last 11 years. And I think there was that thing now that's like, and I always say every time we talked about a project, whether I liked it or was on, it was that they already hit the peak with the Infinity War Endgame, tandem, and now it's just house money. It's anything we can, like, we gave you 11 years of this. Anything else, whether it's hit or miss, that doesn't really matter to us. We're already the conglomerate. Like, we had to build to get to there. You'll love stuff and you'll hate stuff, and the stuff in between, again, Thor: Dark World, or some people don't like the first Doctor Strange, or other stuff in between. Avengers: Age of Ultron is kind of a we don't really want to talk about that in terms of the Avengers movies compared to the first and the third and fourth. But
when did these movies need to be really good movies? Because there was a point where
there's like a schism where it's good as it is.
Yeah, it's a superhero movie. What do you want from it? Now it's like, nigga, everything.
You know what?
It's a good question. No, I'm trying to think if there was a movie outside of, because it's usually dictated by some other project that's really good. I'm trying to think of, like, arguably some people think that one of the best Marvel films in general was Iron Man. It was a Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Very good.
Yeah. That's if you're watching that.
That feels like still it feels like the peak Marvel film. I think it's
because that has the balance of action, drama,
good story,
and it's a famous arc, a famous story, and all that. And what I think happened probably post that was sometimes the comedy would be too much seasoning. Like they would oversalt it. We're like, oh, this is just bad tasting now. Like you went too much, which is one of the reasons I love Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, especially compared to the first Doctor Strange, which I like, but it's okay. But Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is so much better because Sam Raimi, again, a true filmmaker, not that Scott Derrickson isn't, put the Sam Raimi-ness on Doctor Strange. And then it was a great romance with I Love You in every universe. It was a great hero story of him protecting this kid over the course of this universe. It was a great drama. Like, you're the problem and you don't realize that. The reason everything goes wrong is because it's you. And the action's good. And that's, to me, and everyone kind of like was divisive on that. I'm like, this is fucking great. Like, compared to some of the stuff we've been getting, the Black Widows, the Eternals, only this Spider-Man No Way Home, and which again had the ultimate cheat code of they got the 3 Spider-Mans together. And it's a fucking phenomenal movie. I haven't just rewatched it. And Shang-Chi, like, you know, what more could you want from something like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? I know the teases of, you know, the Illuminati is, you know, might piss off the diehard comic book fans, but it's kind of a throwaway for them right now, and they can come back and actually give you the Illuminati 6 years from now when they do the Illuminati movie, like as a reboot and do all that.
I can't tell when these needed to be. I mean, by the time they had Black Panther, Ryan Coogler had already had Fruitvale Station and Creed out, and
I'd say it's probably 2017 to 2019 when they do Homecoming, the first their first Spider-Man, which is great because it's the Spider-Man in high school movie. Then they do Thor Ragnarok, which is like, wow, they made Thor cool and funny and the action's dope. And then Taika Waititi threw all that away with Thor: Love and Thunder. He's like, you love that Thor movie? Let me give you. And then they did Black Panther, and then they did Infinity War. So they went back to back to back to back, and like the Killer wrote like. It was just like, you know, like, how can you top that is what I'm saying. Like, you can't win the MVP every year, but like, you can?
Almost not 9 years into them making the MCU. Realistically, the introduction of Spider-Man is kind of when it went from making serviceable comic book superhero films in this universe to we need your bangers better be banging.
Yeah.
I'm someone who likes the second Guardians a lot. I'm one of the few who actually likes it. Like, everyone's like, you like
I don't dislike a lot, right? Like, I can kind of find something in most things. Mm-hmm. So I like, because I feel like a lot of times now, more so than ever, there are multiple people coming to the movies with their arms folded, right? So you got the comic book,
especially
purist.
these
right?
movies,
Because you got the comic book purist, and they come like, all right, Feige, like, you know what I'm saying. And then you have the straight movie critics who now expect these to be on some sort of goddamn major producer artistic.
That's why I'm so post Infinity War. Then you have Endgame, and that's the Martin Scorsese versus the MCU dialogue starts.
Logan come out. Maybe it was Logan.
Logan's 27. That's right before.
It was Logan.
I think it's right in the middle of Guardians and Spider-Man. That's
February. It was Logan because I'm sorry. I think the way Logan came out, it was because it was an R-rated film, but it was also like a very serious film.
Well, that's because James Mangold had to do his whole. I made a Western, but it just happens to have.
My wife likes. My wife doesn't fuck with none of this. My wife will watch Logan. You know what it may have been Logan. Logan. Right now, I'm going to say February 2017. It was Logan. May have started the good superhero movie renaissance.
But again, what do you have to do that? You have to have blood. You have to swear. You have to be so dark and gritty that it's just so glib, and then people like so. But we got tired of that. That's why no one likes Man of Steel, but I like Man of Steel.
What's the closest that we've gotten to like them saying, "Oh, we should probably nominate this for one of them awards in January"? Black Panther.
Black Panther got
that was also the backlash of.
They got the costume in. They got the design. Yeah. All they didn't get was the acting and directing.
But that's what I'm talking about.
They did Best Picture, but that was just like we're nominated. You know, it's not gonna fucking win. But that's the whole Oscar so white.
Logan was up for Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars that year, which essentially said you did a very good job at turning this comic book into a film. Like Get Out, Get Out was nominated for the same award though. It's like it's the strength of this, but that's what I'm saying. You know, it's one of those things where regardless, because I don't think you're going to get superhero movies aren't made for like dynamic acting performances, not bell to bell.
They can contain them, which is what we're saying with the Jonathan Majors and.
There's a few. What was the last one? It was Joker, and that's a totally different movie. That's a character study.
Well, that's the fallout of that can only win Oscars because again we're stripping all the comic bookness away from it. And the one, and that's not even that to me. That almost shouldn't count because Todd Phillips is like, I want to make Taxi Driver meets King of Comedy.
That's what it feels. It feels like let me try to use a superhero story or a superhero based story to make an Oscar-worthy movie. Like it
that's like 2019 post Endgame, and it's Scorsese being like, these movies aren't considered cinema, which then leads to the whole like all these movies look the same, which is Kevin Feige being like, yes, these movies have to look like each other because they're telling the same story. They might have their own little flares and such with who's directing. Again, like Sam Raimi has his weird, like not weird, but again, like this camera pans all the way around and zooms in and all that. Each director might bring their own flair to it, but like these are gonna look like they're all the same thing. Which, you know, look at Wonder Woman, look at Aquaman, and then look at Justice League. They're all different. Like
they they made all the movies with like iPhone filters.
Facts. Yeah, they went to Instagram, so that you can put a horse on the head. Yeah. And
it's also again like this one's gonna be super funny. This one's not gonna be funny, and then this one's gonna be the balance of both. And it's like that's to me why DC is failing. And then they were smart to lean into the art. We're just going to tell a single story.
Let's not tell that we're failing because they are.
No, I'm saying no, because then they were like, we're going to just tell single stories going forward, which is why they gave us the Batman, which fucking killed it. Because they're like, we're not going to worry about if this guy has.
Continuation.
I was going to say, and Black Adam and Shazam. I mean, they got them on.
They're still going to try to keep that alive of like them facing.
And Aquaman's coming, right?
Yeah, it should be. And Aquaman is to me one of the great DCEU movies is that they put out. But again, like and the Suicide Squad last year, me and Kyle talked about this last week with the at home versus in theater experience. But the Suicide Squad, like their last vestige of this is kind of connected, but it's not because we have Margot Robbie, but then we're going to kill off Jai Courtney, and you know it is Viola Davis still, but like it.
Yeah, and Viola Flag was there. I need to see Viola Davis versus Elaine from Seinfeld. And they have a fight because that's what they're the same person.
Otherwise, the women in charge, you know, women in the room full of guys are like, enhance. What's on that screen? Like
the N-word.
I want to call everything the N-word though.
There you go.
But Fam, before you go, because I gotta get you at it. But what's the one you're most looking forward to out of the announcements, and what's the one you're least looking forward to? Both TV and movies. Which is the one you're most hyped about, and which can you care less?
I mean, of course, Black Panther 2, because we have so much. We know so much.
We're already there, though. We're almost already there.
So you mean after that? Like you're talking next two phases?
I'm saying the ones they literally announced for phase 5 and 6.
So next two phases, of course. I like the shows, man.
Yeah, I know you.
Give me
Loki. That's you being a TV guy.
Yeah, give me. I mean, no, I love the movies, but the shows just give you so much to kind of invest in. Once you leave the theater, the movie is over. I like to have the anticipation. So it's the process of it and the ability of them telling long-term stories. But because I just was left with the cliffhanger from Kamala Khan and them, I'm waiting for what's the next thing from that is the movie. So the Marvels is the movie I'm looking forward to, and I'd say the whatever that Sam Jackson show that they're doing,
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, Secret Invasion is the show because it's been too long since Sam. We need some Sam.
You need real Sam Jackson, not Ben Mendelsohn pretending to be Sam Jackson at the end.
Well, that part of it doesn't matter to me because the movie.
I know, but that's just the thing where I see Far From Home again. I didn't rewatch after I'll probably rewatch it later tonight, but I saw in the theater. Then when they did that at the end, I was like,
"We're gonna get there." By the way, because they really they told us that like the Skrulls are people in the MCU that we don't know. But when are we gonna start getting to that?
I think
that's that show.
You think we're gonna wait that long though from them telling us the first part of the story? I think we have to start seeing some Skrulls. Well, we're gonna see Skrulls in the Marvels, right?
You may see a Skrull in Black Panther Part 2. You know what I'm saying?
Don't forget, how did WandaVision end? I need to talk to you, and then she turns into a Skrull, and like Nick Fury needs you.
That's what I'm saying. Like the key to the Skrull invasion isn't the fact that, oh shit, I see him. It's the fact that
you don't see him.
They've been here years, you know what I mean? And what events in history have been moved because of somebody who was somebody else has been moving. I think that was what tripped me out about it in the comics. And that seems like the only logical conversation for Sam Jackson to be in. So but they're gonna have to one of them episodes gonna have to be like New Jersey, 1956 or whatever, like somebody talking to Thunderbolt Ross or whoever the fuck, and then you realize they morph into a Skrull and it's been going on. Like, I want to see how far this shit's been really going on.
What did suck though about rewatching The Winter Soldier and then remembering Captain Marvel is that Robert Redford knows Nick Fury for years. They showed them together in a picture like supposed to be from the 80s. He doesn't have hair, and then you watch Captain Marvel, Nick Fury has full head of hair. I'm saying it's a bad thing about TV. How I Met Your Mother would do the same thing. Like you're kind of retconning without knowing it, or like you probably do know it, and it's like hopefully no one remembers, but we remember.
They did that with Alfred Woodard being in that one Marvel movie.
No, that's why it's like, why did the Russo brothers do this? Because Luke Cage, I think, had already been filmed.
Other than Luke Cage, who else was she?
She was
just the mother of a
very small
guy
scene
that died in Sokovia.
She was
gave Tony Stark the guilt trip about you need to stop being
black people. It was black people in Sokovia. Why was black people in Sokovia? It was
basically like the Peace Corps.
Yeah, look, man. Yeah, look, black people don't never go to Sokovia no more. You know what I mean? Stay out.
Sokovia doesn't exist anymore.
We didn't fit into that core to begin with.
No need to pay attention to the white man in the corner. Negro, do not go. Like if it's on the call sheet, like if it's on the, and then you got to go to Sokovia. Your character is not gonna make it.
Sorry, bro. You gotta figure out. You gotta say a Skrull attacked you or something. Get the fuck out of there. Was there anything else, Trent?
Well, I wanted so fam, where can they find? I want to get you out before we do the quick hits at the end of the episode. But where can people find you on social media and other podcast platforms by chance?
Hey man, IlFam790, your social media of choice. Always on at Black Rats, and of course, and always still on Where's Buffy. We not dead yet. We see y'all in the fall.
The hand poked through the grave.
Absolutely. And most importantly, right now, man, Something Else Pod, man. Something Else Pod, no G, because we all the G's you need. You already know what it is, man. Something Else Pod every Wednesday at 11:11. See y'all then.
It's funny. I was talking to Fam the other day. So like, we got at some point, Black Rats we gonna be dropping something every day. But it's cool to see that we've got.
That's the point.
But it's cool to see that we've got pro wrestling content as well as something else, as well as white noise. Shouts out to Semp. Shouts out to Vin. Bulls in the China. There's a lot of things that are moving right now, and I think hopefully people are understanding.
Well, that's the whole goal of like changing this now. I mean, the unfortunate casualty is I ended one show I love doing to reinvent it over here. But again, something else is the conversations that fam loves to have about literally anything and everything kind of in life and in general with interesting people. AJ Francis, Faye Jackson, Suzette Victoria, and more will keep coming and coming. And you're doing it with Lovely, again, someone who can do the back and forth with. So something else pod.
I watched Lovely this week just on a few things, including her Creep Squad live. And hey, listen, when I tell you it's I would run our mix tag against any mix tag in all the podcasting. I think
so me and
crazy. She go crazy. I didn't even My bad.
Evo and Fam are something else.
That's all you
So
need
I
to
would
know.
run my mixed tag against anybody. No, but to see her like kill and like it's really cool to find someone who you can already trust outside of niggas you've been podcasting with for years. Like, y'all, it's already like I trust, like I can lay back and be like, oh, she's gonna kill it. So
She's
you know
got
what I'm
it.
saying? Yeah, so shout out to her, man. Something else pod. And do not forget the scariest tandem in podcasting. Brother Fam and Brother Tony Brown.
That is
Monday morning.
Give me a Black Watch.
That is the real reason you gotta stay subscribed to the Patreon, because you can't hear that anywhere else. 4 reasons. Not the reasons you think. Literally like copyright reasons.
Wild guy.
Again, I always use the end.
Oh my gosh, the Tony Brown episode or something.
Tony Brown
like
episode.
This show can play on prime time. Blackwatch plays 11:30. Like,
what's funny though, Blackwatch definitely plays at like 10 a.m. on Monday mornings. I don't care. It's just going out.
Right? This is how you start your week.
Like starting your Monday morning with that death coffee, the super caffeine.
But yeah, no, there's actually going to be. Let me know if y'all are patrons and y'all watch Blackwatch. It's going to be, for the good. It's going to be some, it's going to look a little different, and probably in a couple of weeks. Again, things are happening. I want August, September. These different feeds are really going to be popping. But we got to get out of here, Drip. Let the people know where they can.
I'm sending Fam out, and we got about 5 minutes.
Oh well, hey. Fam's out.
Just 5 minutes of quick hits. Like, so this might be like a running segment when we have a single topic
I'm
like this.
Fam out, man. I'm gonna kick him out.
Yeah. Bam. Like I said, I might have to find a name to add to the end of this, but like some news that dropped this week that I'm at least interested in. Ben Affleck will be returning as Batman somewhat. In Aquaman 2.
Batman wasn't even in Aquaman 1.
No.
Why is he in this?
Don't forget he was the post-credit scene of Suicide Squad, the first one.
Yeah,
with Viola Davis.
What are we doing?
If you look at Ben Affleck in this picture of Jason Momoa, my guy looks as happy as I did 3 months ago. No, it's just when you have again, this man just got married. We've all seen the sad pics of him the last 7 years.
So this man, yeah.
The Dunkin' coffee, he his beard, like this man, real sad boy king, one of my idols. Again, great actor, great director, great meme, inadvertent meme creator in a way. But yeah, I mean, a woman will change your life, because this man's like, yeah, I'll be Batman again. Fuck it.
Jason looks happier than him, but yeah, I mean,
he doesn't even look like he's upset to be there. He's like, yeah, I'm back, and you know what? It's not that bad. Like, because one of the best things to come out of Snyder Cut was Ray Fisher's performance, a proper performance compared to the one in the original. But again, Ben Affleck killed it as Batman, as he did in BVS. And unfortunately, he was one of the casualties of the reshoots that Joss Whedon did, because they're the most. Like, this isn't Ben Affleck from 10 months ago. This is Ben Affleck 3 weeks ago. To see him come back, I don't think he will do the Batman movie that he wanted to do. And it's not the movie that Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson ended up doing. His whole movie was a little bit different. But, good for my guy. Again, he got married. A woman he had been waiting almost 20 years for, in a way.
Yeah. We'll see how long this lasts. Hopefully,
my whole thing is like, given what I'm going through life, a woman will change your life, and this man's like, you know what? Let's put this Bruce Wayne wig on, and let's see what we got.
Is he dressed up as Bruce Wayne right there?
Yeah.
Facts.
They just probably filmed a scene where he showed. Don't forget Jason Momoa and the man who should not be named. Well, the person who should not be named, Ezra Miller, were in Peacemaker. They didn't show the rest of the Justice League, but
that's right.
But maybe Ben Affleck's, I can do it more. I'm still in good enough shape. It's not that hard.
Are they? How did they? They didn't say they. So it's just a tease. We don't know how much.
It's like it'll definitely probably a post-credit cameo where like he shows up. It's like, how you doing, Arthur? He's like, my man.
Whatever.
And then the movie ends. Like,
I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but don't be surprised if he's also added to Him and Michael Keaton.
He was also already supposed to be in that regardless, though, in a way. That was, I think, already
in a way.
I don't know if it's like a full role or just a cameo. Like if he'll be the John Krasinski of that movie, where like he shows up and like I'm out. Like because I think Michael Keaton's supposed to be in that movie a lot more than they're letting on.
Ben Affleck, I was assuming he was in there for like a whole cycle.
Yeah.
Like shit.
I think
Ben Affleck, Batman, and he shoots himself in the head or something.
No, I think Ben Affleck's just in there like, we gotta say something. And then boom, they kill him or something like that. And then like the movie probably starts off in a way, and then maybe like because when Flash runs back to save the world in Justice League Snyder Cut, the ripple effect of that creates the Flashpoint.
Right.
Or maybe again, and the famous ending of the Flashpoint comic is Flash gives Bruce Wayne the letter his father wrote from that timeline when his father's Batman. I know that without reading the comic, but maybe that's the scene they're doing. But another bit of news: Creed 3 got pushed to 2023, which is understandable given they started production sometime early this year, I believe. And before mentioned, Jonathan Majors will be the villain.
Is he Clubber Lang's son or something?
I had speculated that you and I when they had shown those set photos, and he kind of has like a mohawk. And he's fucking jacked, and I'm like, I think he's playing Clubber Lang's son. And you're like, what, are they just going to keep doing this? And I'm like, I'm for it because I'm a Creed 2 defender. That movie's great. It's an underrated sequel, but his character's name is Anderson Dame. I'm like, oh, okay, that's also a good name.
Well, Creed's name wasn't Creed when we started, right? Like he was whatever.
No, he's Adonis Washington.
Or something, and then he took his father.
Then he takes because again, he has a great scene with fucking one of my favorite movies of all time, Creed. We'll do an episode. We'll do Drip's favorite movies, and Creed will definitely be on there.
Watch all these. Anyway, we'll get to that later.
There are probably movies you've seen and at least already liked, like when we do The Departed. When I bring my dad on to do The Departed, so he could be like, Leonardo DiCaprio is not good in this movie. Now I can be like, shut your fucking mouth. Like,
I'm getting drunk during that episode. Yeah. So that's March next year.
And Michael B. Jordan is directing this movie too. His directorial debut. You didn't talk to him about that the second or third time you'd spoken to him. Again, they'll talk to you, but they won't give you the shit that they need to tell you. So you then can tell me. So I can be like, man, what?
I tried. He gave me. But this was also this. When did that?
That was 2020, and he announced being a director last year.
Yeah, so I
over the course of Banks versus Davis, when Creed 3 was being talked about, I'm like, I think Drake will be the villain, because Drake and Michael B. Jordan are close friends, and Drake had been doing boxing training for the last couple years. I'm like, watch Drake be the villain in Creed 3.
That'd be the worst. That would be the worst.
No, you talk about
he would need to get on the creatine diet yesterday.
You talk about my new gray man. That would be it. But speaking of the gray man, the Gray Man 2 got announced this week. So probably comes again, right? I'd say they'll drop it right before King Dynasty, or maybe right after King Dynasty, before Secret Wars. We'll get the Gray Man 2 with Ryan Gosling returning, and the Russo brothers returning to write and direct, to direct, and maybe Marcus and Feeling will return to write and direct. But the Gray Man we talked about last week, it will probably be available on the YouTube soon as you're listening to this. So if you
what do you even do with
the Gray Man?
Yeah,
there's like 20 books.
What? But so the movie ends, and he steals back the girl, and it just drives. Are they're on the run?
He probably puts her in like a safe environment, and he probably is now on the run. I don't want them to do Logan with him and her on the run. They probably will be doing that, to be honest.
Problem is, she's like, she was broken at the end of that movie. She saw her papa get fucking murked.
Yeah.
She gets.
Well, I thought she's so relieved when she sees him. That's a scene I actually like when he walks in, and
she also had to cover her ears because he killed everybody.
Like he's the fucking Gray Man.
What's the point? Like, this is why I got bored with this trope. We have to get out of a certain point. This is why I got bored with this trope years ago, because it's like, all right, this traumatic shit happens. You don't see the kid deal with it at all. He's just gonna dump the kid in an orphanage, and he's gonna go back to fucking killing people in the world. Like, who cares?
It'll turn. The unfortunate part, it might turn into John Wick where they kidnap her again. I hope it doesn't become like Taken meets John Wick where they kidnap her. I hope it's like he puts her in a safe place and he's still on the run because him being linked to her will forever because again they're still looking for him because he's on the run. Like you said, again, the Gray Man. It's funny when we were talking about it last week, and I was telling you what I was disappointed by. I'm almost like, but I also like this movie now that I'm talking about it.
Yeah,
because I had saw that Friday prior in the theater. I didn't like it then. I liked it better at home, and then I rewatched it prior to us recording. I'm like, you know what? Again, a great ending when it's him versus Evans. And then I listened to the Big Picture of Chris Ryan and Sean Fennessy, and they have the same exact conversation we have where Chris Ryan's like, I was so hyped for this movie, and I was kind of let down. He's like, watch me text you in 15 minutes, be like, I actually kind of like this movie. Like, and Sean Fennessy, and it was the whole thing. Like, we basically did that pod, and not to kind of keep making references to your place of employment, or to drop hints like, hey Cal, put in a good word, a white noise with Chris Ryan and Sean Fennessy.
I can't imagine a world where that would happen anytime soon. But
that's
it's funny though.
But they also announced a spinoff written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who were kind of script doctors for this. I think that'll be an Ana de Armas led film, given her character is just based off how her character was. Again, it kind of fits, but then it doesn't.
Right.
They want to explore her knowing this secret. Again, probably having to be a Grayman in a way where she's like a weapon.
Yeah, she was shooting rockets at the castle, so she's.
No, I just mean like her going along with this alibi they created about Lloyd Hansen went rogue and now her kind of being like, and like, I'm going to do whatever I can. And so I think, and she's a great action star in this movie. And like she will be in Ballerina, but yeah, the Gray Man 2, 2024, hopefully, or 2025. But
I will not be waiting for that. You let me know when it hits Netflix, and I'll watch it then.
Yeah, I probably won't be potted anymore by that point. I'll probably have another two heartbreaks that send me into like full recluse, where I'm just again. That's when I'll finally grow the full beard and like I'll be like Daniel Day-Lewis. I'll be a cobbler.
No, I can't wait for that. You have to set up a YouTube channel for you cobbling shoes.
That's when I come back like Frank Ocean when he did Blonde, and I'm making speakers, and people are like, is this what you were doing the past 3-4 years? Instead of making music, you wanted to do this? Like,
interior design. I heard he really
like those directors that like take 8 years between a film, and it's like, how do you live? Like,
what was your life like? That happened.
But that's all the news. Like, so we might have to create a name for
the news segment.
Quick or something like that. We're at the end of the episode because a lot of the times these will be single topic episodes.
Sierra drips. Something drips.
We'll create something. If anyone has suggestions, I'll be open to it. But I will try. Yeah. It's not like the rundown or anything like that. Something too obvious. Like I think part of the interruption would do the big finish, or something like that. But yeah, we'll have to come up with somewhere like any news that comes out that week to add to tack on at the end.
Drips and drops. No.
Well, I can't call it drops because of the droplets, but drops would work.
Drops, yeah, we'll figure it out. News drops. No, we'll figure. If you have any thoughts in the comments, please let us know on Patreon. Eventually on YouTube.
But again, shout out to Sham, Chocolate City, Volume 1,
Volume 2,
and then Volume 2 is on the way. He had kind of teased it last week on his Instagram. And that's what he said. I don't have nothing to promote right now, but he will have something to promote. So check that out. Support us.
We saw.
I forgot the last part. I'm like, there's something else after Chocolate City. But he was
we saw it.
Yeah, but he was on the pod last year at the end of the year promoting Volume 1. So check that out right now. It's available. I think Apple Music, Bandcamp.
Oh yeah, go to
anywhere
for Anakin. We'll probably drop. We'll drop.
Anakin Invader. Yeah, drop
Anakin Invader and Bandcamp though. Yeah. If matter of fact, the links to Anakin Invader will be in the description. It usually isn't any of the videos, so you just click on that and you can find them.
And he's responsible for the white noise I hear at the start of the show, along with the vocals by the one and only Masuku of the Black Announce Table. But
piece of Black Announce
Cal,
Table.
where can people find you on social media before we finally wrap up?
At Cal on Twitter, at Black Wrestling, everywhere else, blackwrestling.com, youtube.com/Black Wrestling is the most important place. Please, if you're not already, hit that subscription, hit the like on this video when you finally get to see it. Please tell a friend, share it so they know what we're doing over here. Patreon.com/Black Wrestling. You can pay the $1, you can pay the $10. You can get videos like this.
Apparently, if you pay the $10, you get a hat, and only you get the hat, as I found out today.
I've had this hat. I don't. When did I get this hat?
I swear I thought I saw Fam with the hat.
Did I have?
I don't know.
Hold up. Am I wearing? No, I'm not wearing this hat. I thought I was wearing a hat here, but I'm not. It's the same hat as that one. It's just different colors. I must have gotten it earlier this year. I forget when I got it
right now.
Yeah.
You got it right before Dallas. Yeah.
Yes.
That was the sample.
But this is the sample, and then
what? I thought we would all get the one that the people paying the $10 got. I thought we would all get it, and Matt's like,
I don't handle production and distribution. I knew that the patrons were going to be getting them. I don't know what else is going on.
Like my dad has a hat. I know he's not going to fucking wear it because he doesn't wear flatbacks or snapbacks.
Take that from him.
Flat brims. I will. I'm going to drive over there right now.
Steal this shit from him. But you can get stuff like that, other things if you subscribe to the Patreon.
And all the shows. Black Watch, Fools in the China Shop, Coffee and Kicks, Black Wrestling Podcast Club,
White Noise,
special episodes, and White Noise.
Yes. Some stuff you may not see at other places too. We
will have special themed episodes,
of course,
too, that we keep talking about. But you can follow me on Twitter at Davis aka Drip, Instagram Davis:DC. Again, Cal told you where to follow the show. If you're listening to this, thank you for listening to White Noise. As of right now, Cal is the current predictions champion, but he might not be the next time you see White Noise. It might be yours truly.
Hopefully, if you're seeing this when you see it, I'm still holding the title securely on my shoulder. I don't know. I have a good feeling about SummerSlam tonight.
We pretty much have the same picks, I think, except for one. So I think I kind of was like, I'm going to pick like Cal, except when we got to my head, I was like, I think Baron Corbin's going to win this match because Pat McAfee isn't in the business to win matches.
I hear y'all. I think I went Pat McAfee on that one.
You did, yeah. You can still change it,
Nah, I'm set in stone. I forget my picks, honestly. I usually look at the tweet. Anyway, we gotta go. But we'll make picks, and I don't know what the hell happened. And then I'll win the title because it's just bees like that. But shouts out to you, Trip. Thanks for having me on this. We'll pick up an MCU.
You're the producer. Is the thing is. I had tweeted this yesterday. You got everyone should be happy that Banks is away from me. He doesn't have to put up with my. You aren't hyped for the gray man, shtick, and it's not shtick because it's actually I was for months being the fucking gray man is coming. I'm saying they should feel bad for you now because you're the person who has to be like, hey Cal, guess what we're talking about this week, and you're like, what? I'm like, you ever heard of a little movie called SWAT from 2003? And you would be like, oh fuck, and I'm like,
wait. They don't care about me though. They don't want me to have a title or anything, so they're probably like, you know what, you got the title, get punished.
Well, you're the one who created the show, so it's like you brought this on.
I brought on
myself. You created a website to then create a podcast to then link up with two cousins from Baltimore to then add a white man, a white boy on 2 years, almost coming up, a few weeks, and then to add Mimi as well. This is all.
I put it all on myself. This
is all you're doing. This is the Arrested Development. I've made a huge mistake.
But
on that note,
this
is White Noise, episode 7. See y'all next time.